Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another one of my wildlife video series. This is Abdullah speaking. Of course, I wanted to, continue with part two of wildlife misconceptions, and I wanted to start this. I want to start this video basically with continuing on with my own opinion, which is based on some of the archaeological studies by scientists and archaeologists about the cave lions. Now, when we look at the cave lion, it's very heavy. The strength it has, the the bulky muscular type of body it has. So I concluded that it would basically use ambush, just like scientists have concluded. And I would say that why I'm saying this animal is social is the fact that when you look at animals hunting like lions or wolves or even hyenas or wild dogs, when we look at them hunting, we can see that they employ tactics that include pack cooperation. And with animals like lions, because they are highly social and they are smart compared to some animals, they are at the top of the pyramid of some of the smartest animals. Not the smartest, but they are there. And this, the list includes dolphins, dogs, hyenas, lions, chimpanzees, and so on. But when we look at some of these tactics, I would say, regardless of the tactics and regardless of the way they hunt, when we look at the ambush that lions employ, it's a type of ambush that requires cooperation. And that would lead us to conclude that these animals are social, in that they need this social structure to basically target bigger animals. Now, because they are strong, because they are heavy, because they are big animals, they would need to cooperate in order for them to hunt and to make a successful hunt. That means that when we look at the strategy itself, which is employed in hunting, what we see is a mix between ambush and planning, ambush and running, chasing. Of course, as we know in wildlife science, the predation, which is the act of an animal predating another animal, we have like some 3 steps. The first is the planning, chasing, and then the contact, and then the meal. So when we look at animals like hyenas, lions, and all, we can see that it's all there. That's the basic parts of the hunt, almost. So I would say that, for example, when we look at animals like cave lions hunting steep bisons, or bisons in general, whether it is in North America or in Eurasia, we would see these animals as hunters in pack, just like that which is depicted in the Chauvet cave in France or in other places where the prehistoric man have painted these animals in hordes, in prides, in social groups. And that's another evidence, like I mentioned before. So that's the point I wanted to complete. Now, looking at another point, it seems to me that some people basically fail to recognize the fact that wild animals have some super adaptations and super abilities, like the ability to sniff, the ability to smell, the ability to basically sense, the ability to basically see. These things are not like you have as a human being. For example, in the smelling, in the detecting the scent, when we see animals like lions or hyenas or whatever the animal is, it's especially pack animals, they can track each other using their scent. That's why animals like rhinoceros or lions would tend to, sniff sometimes the ground, because they know that animal have passed in this path. And Of course, I was keeping up with Safari Live on the past weeks this summer, and I was fascinated by so many range of various questions that were asked to the guides. One of them was, are animals able to detect the tracks of other animals, like the pug marks in the ground or the tracks in general in the ground? And what was fascinating is that the guide referred to this question, and he said that yes, some animals like hyenas would tend to look for pug marks of leopards or lions, and they would basically, especially in the case with the hyenas and leopards, the hyenas would basically look for the tracks of leopards and try to locate them from that. But he said that only us humans have this intelligence and this consciousness, which is unique, to be able to, use the scientific mind, as he said. And that's fascinating, because we humans have super ability in using our intelligence. So we have the ability to basically plan, the ability to predict, the ability to do all of these sorts of behaviors, which we don't see with some animals. And this is very fascinating. So basically the guide said that, yeah, these animals would sometimes recognize the tracks, but their main source of, tracking and detection is their ability to sniff, and it's highly recognized and highly, evolved. It has highly evolved to become in the manner in which we see today, like animals like the German Shepherd dogs, which are used to, help, sort of rescue people from destruction or buildings, or sniff drugs, or in airport security, customs, stuff like that. So with that being said, yeah, there are other things that I personally am not sure, but scientifically proven that, for example, some animals don't see the full broad scheme of colors, and like us. For example, in the night, lions and tigers would see better, 8 times maybe better than us, but they don't see all the colors, and they see only some colors. And I don't know about that. I don't know how they came to know that. That's really impressive, and for me it's still like a matter of investigation as an enthusiast about knowledge and about wildlife and about knowing more and more and more. What is fascinating to me, I was watching one of the documentaries last week about predation and about predators in the deserts of America. And there was this extremely, very mind-blowing, fact, which is said that, for example, when you look at scorpions, actually scorpions are members of the spider family, if I remember correctly. And that's why we have the camel spider, which is almost a mix between the scorpion and the spider. So when you look at these spiders, and when you put a UV, ultraviolet light on them, it reflects back on their bodies, and they become some sort of bluish color would appear on their bodies, on their outer shell, outer skeleton. And scientists suggested that this is another fact, that this would suggest that these animals are highly susceptible to the ultraviolet light from the sun, which will give them the ability to basically always escape the sun. So they actually have the ability to always escape the sun when it is hot. And it's not only scorpions, there are other animals in the desert that also have evolved to reach into this point. So that's really fascinating. So, yeah, with that being said, I hope I have clarified some misconceptions in this video as well. And I will see you in next video. Peace and out.